If every time you open your closet, you are greeted by a mountain of stuff you don't want to wear, it's time for a change. Today, I've made you a list of the 25 things to declutter from your closet before 2025 rolls in, so you can start the new year feeling refreshed and excited to shop your own closet instead of going shopping and spending all the time. So without further ado, let's dive into the first group of items to declutter, and that is the one I think that people find the hardest, and it's because it's related to emotions. The first item in this category is anything that makes you feel guilty whenever you see it. We have so many things to feel guilty about in our life. Our wardrobe should not be the place to bring that emotion. So, whether you bought something that was ridiculously expensive and you've only worn it one time, whether it's a pair of shoes that you no longer fit in, or anything else that brings that sense of guilt, it is time to sell it, donate it, pass it along. It doesn't have space in your wardrobe. The second thing is something that I'm pretty sure everyone has at least one of, and that is gifts that aren't really our style, but we still keep them because we feel that if we donated them or threw them away, somehow we're going to insult the person that gifted them to us, especially if that person is someone that's relatively close. But here is the thing, if you keep wearing something that you don't really like just to please another person, what you're actually doing is saying to yourself that someone else's opinions and feelings and preferences matter more than your own. And that can create a lot of shame and discomfort, and it's just generally not something that we want to experience when we're getting dressed. And because I know that this can be quite challenging to actually donate or sell, I think it's really important to remember that the person who gifted you the item experienced that joy and that pleasure in the moment that they gave you the gift. They may not even remember in 6 months that they actually gifted you that thing. And so it's totally okay to pass this item along if it no longer brings you joy. The third thing to declutter is all of those items that you put them on and you take them off every single time before you go out of the house. Now, it's a really important thing before you pass them on to actually ask yourself, why am I not comfortable in this? It might be that there is something wrong with the fit of the item or how it makes you feel. But if you notice that every single time you put this blouse, you never really go out in it, or every single time you put those shoes and then you always change out of them, well, there is something that this is trying to tell you. If it's something that you genuinely love, it is okay to keep it for a little bit and try to style it and try to figure out why it's not working. But if you've already tried to style it and it just isn't working for you, it is time to give it away. Number 4 is sentimental things that you no longer wear. Now, just to be clear, I'm not saying throw them away. I'm just saying they don't have space in your practical everyday closet. It's totally okay to keep those items separate, maybe in a box somewhere or in storage. You don't have to get rid of anything you don't want to get rid of. But at the same time, if it's not something that you wear actively, it doesn't have a place in your limited space in your closet. The fifth thing is all about this feeling of appropriateness and sensuality and how much of that you want to express. Some people are very, very comfortable with having a lot of skin showing up and just being a lot more sensual. But for those of us that feel that we want to be a little bit more modest, any type of clothes that make us feel inappropriately sexy is not something that we want to keep. And so that may look like a blouse that always opens on the chest, too short shorts or too short skirts, a slit that is just a little bit too high, a V-neck line that's a little bit too deep, or anything else that just makes you feel exposed. And because we all have our own tolerance to how sensual we want to appear, anything that is beyond your tolerance needs to go. Number 6 is something that can bring the emotion of guilt in a different way, and that is anything that you were supposed to fix that you haven't fixed in over a year. Now, let's be honest, if you've been decluttering, you probably have a fixed pile, but if you haven't done anything about that for over a year, you're probably not going to fix those items. So something that I do is I give myself a week, and if within that time I can't be bothered to fix that item, it just means that it's not important to me and I'm going to pass it along. Number 7 in this category is anything that just brings you bad memories. So whether it's something that you wore during a breakup, something that someone said doesn't fit you and you really took that to heart, or just anything else that brings you bad memories and bad emotions that you're not actually willing to rewire and rewrite, needs to go. Because it's totally fine if you wear your breakup dress, if it's your favorite dress and you wear it all the time, that's fine. But if it's something that every time you put it on or every time you even see it, it brings back those bad memories, throw it away. It doesn't have space in your closet. The next group of items to declutter might actually bring some resistance because these are things that you know you have to get rid of, but you still haven't done it. And so this is all about items that are past their shelf life. So let's dive in. So number 8 is anything with holes that you can't or aren't willing to fix. So whether that is tights that have already got ladders and holes in them, or pants and socks that also have holes, just get rid of them. And similarly, number 9 is loungewear that makes you feel sloppy. I used to be the person to wear really baggy t-shirts and leggings, and I just did not feel like myself during the weekend. And it was only when I invested in higher quality loungewear that I noticed how much of a difference it actually makes to how comfortable and how good I feel every single time I'm at home. And so chances are you're spending a lot of time in your loungewear, so you might as well make it something that makes you feel beautiful and you feel really comfortable in. Those worn out t-shirts in 5 sizes too big need to go. The next thing is going to make a massive difference to you because it's connected to your self-respect, and that is throwing away any underwear that is worn out. So whether it has holes, maybe it's faded, it's changed color, or the elastic doesn't work, you need to get rid of those items. Because it was only when I bought higher quality underwear in fabrics that felt really good that I noticed how much my confidence actually rose. Even though no one else but you may see your underwear, you are the person that actually sees that every single day. And so if you put items on your body that are worn out, that are faded, that are not good quality, what are you telling yourself? You're basically saying to yourself that you don't matter, you're the last person to take care of, and that is not how you should be feeling. And so it might be better to have a smaller, more curated collection of underwear that makes you feel good than to have a large amount of items that are worn out and not working for you. The next item on the list is visibly tarnished jewelry. Now, I totally understand that not everyone can afford to buy higher quality jewelry. That's absolutely fine. But if you're buying costume jewelry, you know that it's going to tarnish at some point. And so if there is an item that you no longer wear because it has tarnished and every time you put it on, you see it and it just makes you feel a little bit icky, but you still keep it in your wardrobe, it is time to let it go. You deserve better. And another thing that really surprises me, but I know so many people do it, myself included, is keeping old trainers after you have bought new ones. Now, I know that I used to tell myself that, oh, these are so comfy, I'm just going to keep them just in case I have to go and do something. But in reality, every single time I had to go and do something, I would just use my new trainers. And so those old ones were just gathering dust and taking up space. So if they're still wearable, you can donate them. And if they're not, throw them away. And finally, for this category is any sort of stained items that you cannot fix. Now, I'll admit that I've made a couple of laundry mistakes in the past. And one of those things was putting my beautiful white jumper with darker clothes, washing and drying it. And then the white jumper came out of the laundry with very dark stains all over it that just wouldn't go away. And so in this case, because it was cotton, I decided to dye it. I bought this dye from Amazon and it came out amazing. It is now black and I'm really, really happy. But if your item is stained and you're not willing to fix it by dyeing it, using some sort of embroidery or patching on top of it, it doesn't have space in your closet. The third group of items are very practical, but I know that every single person watching this video is going to have at least one of those things. And it is all about items that don't fit in some way, shape, or form. Now, let's start with the elephant in the room, clothes that aren't your size. I'll be the first person to admit that my weight fluctuates within a given month and definitely within a season. And so I have my slimmer bottoms and less slim bottoms, even within my capsule, because I know that there are some days when I can wear a certain pair of shorts, and on other days I have to wear a different pair of shirts because the first ones don't fit. And so it's not about decluttering everything, but if you have items that are 3 to 4 sizes too small or 3 to 4 sizes too big, and you know that within this season, you're 99% sure you're not going to get to that size, remove those items from your closet. Now, whether you choose to actually declutter them and donate them, or whether you choose to just keep them somewhere in storage, don't keep those items in your everyday rotation because you'll not be able to wear them, but you're gonna feel like you have too many clothes, something doesn't fit, and it's gonna just make you feel worse. And so it is okay to fluctuate between sizes. It is okay to keep a few different sizes within your capsule wardrobe, but just make sure that you don't have a full store range of sizes within your closet. The next one when it comes to fit is keeping clothes in colors that you no longer like. So maybe you're like me and you've had color analysis and you realize that some colors just wash you out and you can't unsee it. Or maybe it's something that is in your colors, but you just feel meh every single time you wear it. Don't keep it. Because life is too short to wear clothes that are only 50% okay. You deserve better. And if it's not something that you're willing to find workarounds by, for example, wearing scarves or layering something over or under it, then give it away. It's not worth it. The next one is something that's very practical, but that is belts that are too short or too long for you. So maybe this belt is too short and you're barely able to buckle it. or maybe it's too long and you've run out of holes and you can't put any more. Well, those belts are not something that you're going to wear, but they're still taking up space. So why are you keeping them? If it's something that is not your size right now, but you absolutely love, put it aside. But if it's something that you never really wear, give it away. Next thing is something that I find, especially women, we tend to do this a lot, is buying shoes that aren't exactly our size. So something that will happen a lot in the past for me is buying shoes that are a full size too small just because they were a designer piece on 90% sale, or they were a one-off piece in the charity shop and a deal that I just couldn't pass on. But here's the thing, I never wore those shoes because they just didn't fit me. And what's the point in something staying in your everyday wardrobe when you can't actually wear it? Again, it is okay if you're someone that maybe is a collector, if you just like beautiful things, that's fine. Put them aside. Just don't put those in your everyday rotation when you're trying to get dressed. Because if those shoes are too small or maybe 3 sizes too big for you, you're not going to wear them, but you're still going to feel like you just have too many things and nothing to wear. The next type of item to declutter is any coats and jackets that are too tight in some area. For me personally, this is often the arms area, sometimes the chest. For other people, it might be more of the belly area. But regardless of it, if you put the item on and you can't comfortably lift your arms or you can't comfortably rotate, then this item is just not the right fit for you. And it's not your body that is wrong, it's just the item's construction and your body are not a match. And that's totally fine. I've definitely made my fair share of outerwear mistakes, but given that those items are usually pretty expensive, I want to get my cost per wear down to as low as possible. And so the only way to do that is by actually wearing the item. And so any jackets, coats, blazers, anything that doesn't fit you properly, pass it along. And finally, when it comes to fit, another one that we don't really talk about is bras. So if you're someone that has a monthly cycle, you've probably experienced that your breast size will go up and down throughout the month. And so just like having at least 2 different sizes of bottoms, I also have at least 2 different sizes of bras. That's totally fine. But I also know that in the past, I would keep bras that I had definitely outgrown, or bras that were maybe given to me by my mom that were just 2 sizes too big. But because bras actually have a massive effect on how your tops appear, it's really important to find the ones that actually fit your body and shape and just make you feel really good. And so anything that isn't your size will typically not do that for you. So whether you have a bra that just is too big or too small, that pinches you in some way or makes your boobs look really, really flat, it is time to let it go. And finally, the fourth group of items to declutter are all about comfort and how they make you feel when you wear them. So the first thing to declutter here is any pair of pants, jeans, even skirts that are not allowing you to breathe comfortably and easily when you sit down. I used to be the person that would wear sometimes things that were too tight, that were pinching me, and I struggled to breathe just because when I was standing, they looked really nice. But whenever we would sit down and maybe try to have dinner or have a conversation, I just couldn't focus because I just was so uncomfortable. And so do yourself a favor. There are so many different trousers and jeans and skirts you can buy that maybe are tailored towards your figure or maybe have a little bit of stretch to them that are going to allow you to both look beautiful but also feel really, really comfortable. You don't need to struggle just to look pretty. And on the note of comfort, I genuinely think that itchy sweaters don't belong in your closet unless you're willing to make the proper investment of both money and time to make them work. So for me, things like mohair are very, very scratchy. And so I can't wear this directly on my body. And so I've had to buy a couple of merino jumpers and underlayers that I can wear underneath just to allow me to wear that specific jumper that I really like. But if you're not someone that can be bothered with underlayers and wearing something every single time you wear that jumper, donate it. Someone else is going to love it. And speaking about discomfort, I think that any clothes that make you excessively sweat when you're not working out don't have a place in your closet. You probably know that materials like polyester, acrylic, polyurethane, anything that is man-made genuinely doesn't allow your body to breathe unless it's specific workout clothes that are designed for that. And so wearing, for example, jumpers made of polyester and acrylic are oftentimes going to make you really, really sweaty. And the same thing applies to polyester shirts. I know for myself that anytime I have worn polyester, I just get really sweaty and uncomfortable. And on top of that, those kind of fabrics often keep odors, which is not ideal if you're someone that maybe rushes somewhere and you know that you do sweat. So anything that is made for those fabrics that just makes you excessively sweat, throw it away. And the final three pieces are all connected to shoes in here. So the first one is any shoes that give you blisters. Now, I'll be the first person to admit that I have very sensitive skin, especially on my feet. And so even my favorite sandals and boots, whenever I change seasons and I put them on for the first time, they do give me blisters. That's okay. That happens. And I just need to wear them once or twice. My foot adjusts and then we're all good. But I also know that there are pairs of shoes that every single time I put them on, they give me blisters. And I've also heard that, for example, Doc Martens take a year to actually break in. And let's be honest, who has that time and that patience to wear shoes that constantly give you blisters and make you uncomfortable? So unless you're again willing to tolerate that pain for a prolonged amount of time just to make some shoes work, well, probably it's better to pass them along to someone who maybe doesn't need to break them in. And on a similar note, if you have everyday shoes that aren't comfortable for everyday wear, you need a better item. So I'm talking about trainers, flat boots, sandals, anything that you're meant to be able to walk for miles in, but after 1 or 2 hours, you actually can't walk in that shoe anymore. Well, this is not an everyday shoe because you need to be able to comfortably move in for the entire day for a shoe to actually count as an everyday shoe. And if that is not the case, you need to find a better alternative. And trust me, those things exist. And just because some shoe isn't a fit, it doesn't mean you'll never find it. And it's okay to keep something for now, but try to find a better replacement for 2025 because your feet deserve a lot of love. And finally, and this really pains me because I love beautiful shoes and a lot of special occasion shoes are those really precious, really special ones. But in here, I have put any special occasion shoes that you can't stand in for more than a minute or two. Because I know that when it comes to events, weddings, public speaking, anything like that, yes, you might want to wear slightly uncomfortable shoes because they make you look good or feel good. And that is an absolutely valid point. But if you can't even walk or stand in those shoes for a couple of minutes without experiencing pain, they're just going to ruin your event and your confidence and your comfort. And so there is a good middle ground where they're comfortable and beautiful shoes. You can find heels that look really, really nice, like the Manolo Blahniks and Jimmy Choos are a much more comfortable alternative to, for example, the Louboutins. And you can still wear beautiful shoes that are simply designed with a little bit more comfort in mind rather than just aesthetics. And so let me know what else would you add to this list and what are you decluttering before 2025? I'm excited to read it and I'll see you in my next video.